Go whenever you want.
All right,
Go whenever
ready?
you want.
3, 2, 1, go. You're doing like a sad smirking thing. Sad smirking. What's the sad?
Oh my god.
You're like, I don't have to win. So it's like, you're testing my frozen shoulder. You're losing to some random scrawny nerd at a bar. At least a good looking. Thank you. Can I have that like in writing so I can for like the dating resume? Oh man, he's recording that too.
Yeah, I'm recording everything.
Moments before death.
Glory or death, George. Glory or death.
I just fight with dear life and hope my shoulder starts moving. Alright. There you go.
Okay, welcome back to another episode of the Day After Podcast.
This scrawny ass arm took on a 2-time Survivor legend. Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
In case anyone out there didn't know who that was King George from Australian Survivor. One of the best people say to have ever done it. Ryan, congratulations for
Thank you.
taking him down, and he called you attractive, so
Thank you.
get
More
a little,
women need to do that.
yeah.
I still appreciate the compliment, but it was and I'm like for a second I was like, oh wait, Matt's filming this and this is gonna go up. And we can't cut it, otherwise people are gonna be like, oh, it's totally fake. I don't know if he was letting me win too, by the way.
Yeah.
He might have been.
But you know what? It's all depends on the person who's telling the story. So if you want to go down as someone who beat
I know
King George.
Yeah, I know that firsthand.
Mhm.
Anywho, so let's get into the best episode of season 46 so far.
Definitely.
I know you're mixed about it, but that's for personal reasons.
Yeah. Putting personal reasons aside, it was definitely way better than anything we've seen from the season so far.
Yeah. So I mean, it kind of opens up. Well, also, I have to say, they kind of spoiled who was going to tribal council with their previously on, because they
Yeah.
showed like two separate things with the Sika tribe, and like how like, oh hey, Ben doesn't have a vote. Oh hey, Jem, can only get her idol if the thing is unlocked. And so it's like one of those things where it's like, oh, just based on what they're showing me right now, Sika is totally going, you know.
Yeah.
Did you pick up on that?
Yeah, I definitely picked up on it. But never in a million years would I have said Jem was going to be the first person to get taken out with an idol in her pocket in what seemed like for the entirety of the show so far, she was in a solid alliance. And it seemed like Charlie was the one who was having to go against the guys. I felt like that was very set up, and literally as those were getting read, I still was like, okay, Ben's going home here. I don't know how that doesn't happen, and somehow, yeah, they took out Jem, which good on them. She's definitely a strong player.
So you're the first person on our channel to lose someone before Earn the Merge.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, but like my crown for my J Maya winner pick was swiftly taken away.
Yeah.
So you couldn't even let me have that, Joe.
No,
You couldn't even let me have that.
I got to
You
even
just have to
take
one up me.
Yeah, I have to also be just as bad at you as things, so that way I'm the best and the worst.
Son of a bitch. Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna make you just mid, Ryan. You're gonna be mid.
Oh yeah, how long can you plank for?
Maybe 2 to 3 minutes.
There's a rookie number. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm playing around. So, just to say, if you haven't seen Heroes versus Villains, it's on the Tribe of Nerds channel. I'm in both nights. Good God. It is honestly one of the best things of Survivor you could watch. I have mixed positive feelings about it, but definitely more mixed right now. But one of the positive things is there was a planking challenge, and it was actually very fun to watch. I participated in it against not one, but two serious challenge beasts, and you have to watch to see what happens.
Yeah, I didn't think you had it, to be honest. When you were up against those final two, I was like, okay, good job, Ryan. You put on a good performance, but no, you dug down deep.
Well, I was like, no, we won't get into it right now.
Yeah.
But it was the odds were not in my favor during the second half at all.
Mhm.
But we'll digress. So, speaking of odds not being your favor, let's talk about the Yanu tribe, which they finally got rid of Banu. And it's like, okay, they lost all the incompetent people, or at least that's how the show was framing them to be. And so here they are with 10 days without anything. And Jeff even said, yo, that's like a Survivor record, not having Flint for 10 days.
Mhm.
Damn near half the game, they did not have fire. And they were kind of like losing their mind. Their spirits were super down. Even though, like, okay, they have a good three right there.
Uh, yeah, yeah, definitely. Uh, Something to kind of keep in mind, I think, actually, is a lot of people, do a lot of fire making practice, especially in the early stages. Like it's kind of like, let everyone go. It doesn't seem too strategic to be like in the makings of doing the fire, which can help you for if you were in a final four situation to make fire. But the fact that they went like pretty much 11 days before they even got a chance to do that, I do wonder if there's a good chance that one of them could be like a really easy person to beat now in fire because other people might have had more time to practice it.
It's a good insight, actually. Yeah. Though, I mean, based on, what Banu told the other tribes, I'm sure that there's going to be a big target on them going into this. I can see with the this Yanu tribe, it going one of two ways. One, I don't want to say they're like Tika 3, because that's just like too on the nose.
Mhm.
But I do feel like they're either A, gonna be targeted right away, or B, they're going to be used to try and take out the other if it's going to tribal lines, which it kind of seems like it might. We've gotten different context from different people of like where things can go. Um, I definitely think with the Earn the Merge coming, uh, it could definitely be a new game for anyone, depending on who's vulnerable and
Mhm.
who gets to talk to who first.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We also skipping a little bit into this, but Q has tried to create this, journey alliance here with who are all the people? It would be Q, Tiff, Tim, Maria, and Hunter and Tevin. Um, do you think there's any hold to this little alliance that Q tried to spin?
It might bite him in the ass.
Yeah. I mean, it
I
seemed like
just
they,
love this.
yeah, it seemed like they clocked very quickly that Q was trying to get him and Tiff as the duo to be safe by having them also name their duos. Um, so I feel like Hunter very much clocked that. So yeah, don't know. I think it just kind of put a bigger target on this earn the merge and the first merge boots on Q and Tiff. And I'd probably say
Yeah.
Q is more likely to get targeted first.
Well, I mean, like with the earn the merge, it's RNG. It's like whose teams are you on? If you're the number 7 spot and it's like you get to choose, do you choose the right team? I'd say if you're on that number 7 spot and you know the people who are playing, you have a pretty decent idea of like, okay, like, oh, if Hunter's on this team, I should probably try and be on the team that Hunter is, or I'm
Yeah.
gonna root up for the team that Hunter is because I've seen him play and I'm like, he's always doing like some great stuff on you know, the old Yellow Tribe, I forget the name. Um, but yeah.
Mhm.
So that's always the thing about going into the Earn the Mer. I mean, it's good to have try and find numbers, but sometimes people can get really, if you're making alliances without them, they don't always appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, the other three who weren't a part of that conversation, I mean, do they really there's no trust that they are being built there. There's
Oh yeah,
no real guarantees for them.
no, no. Why I'm acting a little weird about it is because funny enough, a situation like that kind of happened. I'm giving you a little preview of the tell-all. I tried to pull something similar on Heroes versus Villains. I won't say too much about it. I was just giving myself a contingency, but it did not go well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this could end up biting Q in the back. Because like, why are you saying that we're working with these people and stuff? It's like, well, you know, this, yeah, you know, like I'm just trying to get us numbers when we're going when it's down. I think Q had the right idea because like one, he's the biggest physical threat out of the
mhm.
three.
Yeah.
You know, they might be like, yo, if he's vulnerable, why don't we take him out of the equation?
hmm Yeah. I do definitely worry for Q's game moving forward. It just I think he would have been best as a player who is on a tribe that wins and is kind of just in a strong group with other strong players that are still in it. I feel like Tiffany and Kenzie are strong players, but able to they're also social players who can at least
Yeah,
work their way in. He doesn't have someone who's not the best socially and is a threat. And
yeah,
uh I mean, I don't know how well Q's social game is, but even some of the conversations with Banu are kind of cringy, and I know Banu was a huge part of that, but like even from him like trying to become like this coach and like doing all this stuff, like if he goes in with that mentality of like any kind of coaching or trying to be in control, it's going to be immediately shut down.
yeah, man. I don't know. I feel like the best person out of the three, and it's not just because she has a idol, is Tiffany, who could probably navigate the best way. Because with what Banu said to the other two tribes about to Liz, to Ben, was like, oh, Kenzie's a real big social threat. Well, if people think you're a social threat, then they might be like, oh, okay, she's just muttering me up right now, or something like that.
hmm
Um, but you know, you never see, but like you never know. Whereas, you know, you have Tiffany where she was just labeled as a duo with Q. And if you're going with who to target, I think Q is the more obvious threat.
hmm
Whereas Tiffany has the idol. So like if she feels like, oh, she's kind of screwed, maybe she plays it on herself, or maybe she plays it for Q and takes someone else out.
hmm
Now whether or not Tiffany is the kind of person that would play an idol on an ally to help her game further, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a bold strategy, but it's not, you know, like we don't know yet. We don't know what kind of player she is, other than just like a pretty good, you know, she's well connected with two people.
Yeah.
And
I could see her also because she now knows everyone knows that they're a duo, that it is bad that she is with Q and therefore has to take him out. Um so you know, because if she
Yeah.
saves Q or in any way socially or with an idol, she is now linked to Q and becomes this huge threat, even if Q then goes out the next round. Um, so it really is kind of smarter for her, unfortunately, to take out Q
Sever that
because
side.
of
Yeah.
what Banu said. Like Banu's move there really kind of like or is going to have to force these players to go certain routes that they probably don't want to and weren't in their best interest before, but now they have to because that's just how the game shifted.
Yeah. That's always the tricky thing too. It's like, um, when you're going in without the numbers, you do have like this position of like, well, I mean, whatever the number situation is on each respective tribe, you know, I think we see it happen. It just really depends on the players. Whether it's like, oh, you know, oh, we see strong tribes. We see people who may be on the bottom, try and mix with other people on the bottom, or people that are like just vibing well together. It's like, okay, this is majority.
Mhm.
It plays different each season, but that also means it's because there are different players each season, and they kind of
Yeah.
just go with what is probably best for their game in that moment, or what they perceive to be best in their game. Um, yeah, I'd say that's my thought on it. It is interesting because the only tribe to not have to go to tribal council, granted they lost someone, is the Yellow Tribe. Um,
Yeah,
Forget
Nami. I believe they're orange, right? Isn't it orange?
like yellow, orange.
Yeah,
Guys, I'm semi colorblind, so like
yeah.
yellow and orange can kind of look similar to me.
Uh-huh.
Um, Fun facts with Ryan Wayne. Um, or fun facts about Ryan Wayne. But then I guess it's segued with me. Sorry, I'm a chatterbox, guys. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
well,
And don't worry, no one knows that about you, right?
no one knows that about me. You know, it's another fun fact. Anyway, I
Yeah.
digress. So, um, yeah, so like there, even if there was a perceived bottom or anything, or if like Kevin and Hunter wanted to blindside Soda, or anything like that, though that tribe is kind of going into this merge not truly knowing where the numbers lie, which can
Hmm.
be a bit tricky on their part because
Yeah.
maybe Venus is like, hey, fuck these guys, go somewhere else. Or maybe they're like, hey, the four people except for Venus, let's go work with the Yanu three. Cause yeah. Or,
Hmm.
it can happen any number of ways. And part of it is dictated by who earns the merge, who are the six or seven people that, are vulnerable that night.
Uh-huh. Yeah, definitely. They could also, there's been a lot of talk about taking out Soda. It feels like if I feel like if the Nami tribe went pre-merge with just them, I think Soda would have gone home. It seems like even her allies are like, oh, she's a threat that we can't like get far into this game. Which is not great when that is being clocked on like day 8 or something.
No, no. Um, but with this, it's another thing to mention too that on that tribe, Hunter lost his vote. And
Yep.
it was kind of weird. So when I watched this episode, I did not watch it at home. I went to a Johnny Fairplay watch party where you saw me take down King George. So if I took down one of the best Survivor players ever, what does that say about me? Um, but anywho, so when they were kind of like talking about all that stuff, I was talking to Jag, the winner of Big Brother 25, a little bit because he was like talking to me and I was like talking to him because I don't want to be rude. Also, like, how often do I talk to Jag?
Mhm.
Like twice in my life, which, is more than the average person, but it's still like rare.
Uh-huh.
Um, so we were like, and then it was like when he said the challenge was, oh, put all the logos in order. I'm like, dude, that's fucking easy.
Same.
And then he said, oh, I didn't watch them in order. And I'm like, I can kind of see people messing up because they don't know that, but like,
Yeah.
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 What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I also was like, this is the easiest challenge ever. Even if you didn't watch it, like I don't know, I didn't watch them in order. I watched them all over the place, but I definitely
Same.
still would be able to do it because I'm like, I'm watching this I'm watching, season 16. This is Micronesia. And like I tie those number and that the name of the season together. Um,
Yeah.
so for me, it would be like very clear.
Also, this man is aware, his house is a warehouse for different survivor challenges.
Uh-huh.
And like, so I think that's the thing that's like baffling. It's like you build all this up, you're clearly a super fan. And I'm not saying, I'm not saying that he's not that big of a fan because he doesn't know which season is when, but it's like you would think you would know so much more.
Yeah.
I mean, like knowing the placements of the season is probably one of the easiest things about Survivor trivia, where it's like, okay, if you're like a super fan, which he is,
Hmm.
it's like the placement of the stuff should come naturally. Um, but yeah, I mean, there are different people who compete, and they are different levels of fans. I think we also have to keep in mind.
Hmm.
But yeah, for him, it was just like, ah, man, I didn't watch them in order, so I'm a little foggy on stuff. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh man,
Yeah. That was very shocking. I feel like this was like the layup challenge for any super fan. Like that's how I viewed it the second it got revealed. It was just like, okay, the like I bet I think if Tim did it, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like there's a good chance that he should have had a shot. Like there are definitely people on this cast that I think would have found the challenge very easy.
yeah,
So
yeah, um, yeah. So he lost his vote, and he's going into actually because of that. It was actually a very interesting episode for Hunter because not only that, he has the Beware advantage, and
mhm,
he has to do. We don't know what it is. We thought it was going to be Jem who had to figure out what to do because there is like a backup plan for activating the idol
mhm,
if you make it to merge and you don't lose. So they do have something for that. And so Hunter, depending on what it is, might not have his vote for a while. And on top of that, when he finally gets it back, he still has to lose it,
yeah,
which also means no shot in the dark too, as Banu made us all realize.
yeah, definitely. Definitely going to be interesting how Hunter plays it because losing your vote right before the earn the merge along with an idol that you might not be able to immediately get it for that first vote. So if that happens, then you know if he doesn't get it till after the earn the merge, then the first merge boot, he'll still be losing his vote. So
The concerning thing is Venus and him are talking, and then like Venus like, yeah, you're like a huge freaking Fred. So like,
yeah.
it was just like you don't freaking tell someone that to their face.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, it's like,
I love Venus, but some of her like the way she talks to people is like just really bad. Like
yeah,
it's incredibly like bad social play that if her tribe had to go twice, like I just don't see how she would have survived two tribal councils on this
that's
with the way
fair.
that she talks.
Yeah. Um, yeah. So I don't know. This one is definitely an interesting to look out for when we enter this next phase in the game. Um, I mean, also because they've kind of had it easier than others because they always like win first place in their challenges and stuff.
Yeah.
They also have gotten the most rewards and the better camp life as a result. I mean, did you see that? It was legit a buffet of like fruit and sweets, and it's like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, like.
Yeah,
I'm
they
jealous.
yeah, they ate good that night or that day. Definitely good. Um, and Hunter's over there making beds for people. I don't know if there's been multiple beds, but the fact that he can just
I
say,
feel like
"I'm
it
just,"
would have been shitty if you didn't make beds for other people. Was
yeah,
for real.
yeah, but who knows? It could have took a lot of time, and he was like, I only had one bed in me.
No, sharing is caring. But
Yeah,
yeah. So af so you know, let's go to this challenge. One, it seemed relatively early in the episode that we were going to immunity.
yeah.
I
I
was
thought it
like,
was a reward.
yeah. And then I saw them bring in their idols, and so like I was like, oh snap, we are getting to this right now. And I'm like, okay, I guess because we're going to the journey, that's gonna make a difference and whatnot.
Mhm.
But yeah, so and this one, Jeff was like straight up, it was like, yeah, so uh I loved his comment where it was like last place, also known as, and then someone said losers. I was like, I was gonna say Yanu. I'm like, ooh, that was a low blow. I know Sassy Jeff is back, but that was like that wasn't just salt in the wound. That was being Art the Clown and bringing salt and bleach into the wounds. It's like
Yeah,
Jesus.
yeah. He was definitely
Um,
kicking them down a bunch.
yeah. And then being like, hey, one, you made Survivor history in a bad way. And here's the thing, if you don't win this, you're gonna be like the new oolong of the new era, basically. Apart from, a medevac that served you guys.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, they have been very bad. Like theoretically, yeah, that should have been a tribe of two, because of them
Yes.
losing that one challenge. So if they had lost this, yeah, there was a chance that there could have been a tribe of one scenario if it played out without that medevac and them losing. So definitely very close to that oolong situation happening with this tribe, but they managed to pull it out. So
They did.
good on them. It kind of came out how I thought it would be, where Nami just kind of cruises through because Hunter just does everything. He just totally takes over the challenges. Whenever there's
Yeah.
like one person doing something, he just goes up and just instantly does it. um and then it became the showdown of Yanu versus Siga, which was very close.
It was
there's been quite a few challenges where they have been like, just
just
right
right.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. I will say the one thing I don't appreciate is that because they keep like it's one of the things where because of the previously on Survivor,
Mhm.
and it wasn't like the last episode, they were like showing you specific things that were going to be relative. I'm like, I didn't really have suspension of disbelief that
Yeah.
that the Yanu tribe wasn't going to win, mostly because of like that one little piece. And so when that happened, I was still super happy. The bar I was at, everyone was cheering. Everyone was so excited to see the Yanu tribe actually win because it is something where we don't like seeing just the team get pounded on and pounded on and pounded on.
Yeah.
Unless you're the other team, then it's like, um,
Yeah. Also, like, I think
um,
we've all seen enough of Yanu. I think people wanted to see other people playing the game. You know,
that too,
yeah,
that too.
people have definitely soured on the tribe, and I think if we had to be like sitting through another episode and then having to wait another week of us just having seen Yanu, I don't think people would have been happy about that.
No. Clearly it's not something, it hasn't been working so far. Not many two people have had a great perception of that tribe.
Mhm.
But no, the one that ends up losing is the Vibe tribe, as they called it, where all their confessionals, apart from like, hey, maybe we choose this person, or hey, Ladies Alliance, hey, name a Taylor Swift song, name an Aerosmith song. It wasn't Aerosmith, but I was like, you know what I mean.
Mhm.
Um, you know, and so like when you first have to like strategize and stuff, it's like, oh shit, what do we do? And then it's like Jem and Tim had all this like little kind of beef, and then also there was just like a lot kind of like that might have been like bubbling in the surface that was
Hmm.
finally coming to light. Because I'll be honest, maybe they didn't expect they'd be losing, you know?
Hmm. Yeah, I saw a little bit of Jem's exit interview, and she explained a little bit of why she caused all that chaos with the idol. Um, Apparently, she thought that they were going to be going to tribal earlier, and so the fact that they kept winning made her the suspicion of the lie more obvious because every time they would win a challenge they would then go try to dig. So it kept like accruing days of them doing this, which in her eyes, she was like, okay, we'll probably lose pretty soon here. Let's do this. I can get the blame onto Tim or Ben for it really quickly while no one's realizing. And then like her group would be like locked steady. Like that was what she was hoping to do with it. Um, but the fact that they kept winning made Tim basically be able to like put the pieces together.
Yeah. And then at that point, that's the thing. If you want to do something crazy like that,
Yeah.
the less variables that can affect that, the better, especially if one team is really bombing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah,
She had a lot of like also like crazy like ideas she was wanting to do with it too. And I think she was way overthinking things. I think you just gotta place a fake idol there and let someone think they have safety. I don't think you don't
yeah.
hide anything because then it's just clear that someone has it.
I don't know if you saw the Dabu drawings, it's like a fun thing from Eric from Micronesia, where it was like a whole expedition team trying to look for the idol, and it's like this whole thing, and it's like, oh, where is it? No, we have to dig deeper, and like the tree roots are already like totally like way above head at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah. Um, Also, that's another thing too. If people are digging and putting so much energy into it, when they find out who has been doing this shit, they're gonna be pissed because that's energy you're putting in to try and find this idol, which is not good.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I like Jem. I think she just needed to not do anything, which is one of the toughest things. I know, like it's really tough when you're in a good position to just like say, whoa, I don't have to do anything crazy right now. She said she wanted to play like Tony. I think there were definitely traces of her, playing like Tony. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Um, yeah. Uh, I think she was a smart player. It's just that people caught on too fast
yeah,
to it. Um, or like basically the guys, well, I think it was just like position perfect for, Ben and Charlie and Tim to be like, hey, we're about to merge soon. I think that Jem is smart, so we should probably take her out because she's very strategic, where Ben is more of a social threat. And well, I mean, I think that's the thing you always have to like realize too. What threat is more dangerous?
hmm,
Because if we look at that tribe, there's not necessarily a challenge threat. I would say definitely with this one, it is definitely more. I see a lot of social threats and I see a lot of, you know, strategic threats. And while social is good because those are people that can go farther because they know how to connect with people, strategic threats are more of a liability because, like, okay, they're thinking more with their head and not their hearts, and then they're more willing to do bigger moves despite this and this and this.
hmm,
And if, like in that moment, it's like we got to get rid of someone. Um, and then, Maria was probably like, yeah, that's probably the best way to go. Um, and that's where the numbers kind of lie because, like, sometimes the obvious choice isn't always the best choice. Um, so, like, yeah, I think that's kind of like the thought process they were all going through.
Uh, yeah, I also feel like Ben is just going to be someone who is going to be an easy vote at some points in the game. I just feel like because he's not going to be playing hard or very strategic. I feel like when you're like that, you do have run the risk of just a few people saying your name and then everyone starts saying your name, and now it's just like you don't
Okay.
do yeah, you're just out. There's you don't really do much to save yourself because you're just trying to not do anything basically.
Feel attacked, Joe. Anyway,
Yeah.
um, but no, I think the thing is, I think Ben, I think if he survives the earn the merge and then the however they decide to function, the final one before the jury, I think he has a lot of potential to go further in this game because it could be a thing like, yeah, he's a social threat, but there are bigger fish to fry. There could be bigger fish to fry in the middle because there's so many of these different like factions that are going on where it's like, all right, what about, you know, the Yanu 3? Or all right, what about Hunter who's, built pretty well and is crushing it at any challenge he does. It's
Yeah.
like there could be so much going on where Ben it's like, oh, Ben, he's just cool dude to be around. I think maybe that might help him slip under the radar. And yeah, he might be an easy vote, but maybe they don't go for the easy vote for a while. And then Ben just starts like really crushing it. And then it's like he's in a position where he can get to the end easily.
Uh-huh. Definitely, definitely. So yeah, we'll see how it is, them choosing Ben over Gem. Definitely an interesting choice. Uh yeah, I'm still so upset losing Gem here. It's honestly just awful. Like I think she had so much potential as a player
She did.
that we just lost right before like she was able to be able to like show it. So
No, I get it.
definitely sucks there.
Yeah, I'd say she's the first one that I feel bad that she went early this season.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, no, I mean, obvious tribal council wise, obviously Randon getting, medevaced, that's just a fucked situation. That just sucks.
Hmm.
I'm talking strictly someone who was voted out. This is the first one where I'm just like, oh, man.
Yeah.
Because she definitely has a lot of potentials, and some of those potentials were realized on the show, but like when potential is realized, you better hope the people realizing it don't want to vote you out.
Yeah.
And that's the thing they did this time. And she has it sucks going home with an idol in your pocket. That didn't happen to me. But like, it's one of those things where it's like, man, it's like she had the opportunity to save herself. But I
Yeah.
don't blame her for not doing it because there
Yeah.
was nothing that would have suggested that she was vulnerable,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Yeah, I would say that those first three Yanu people that we lost were definitely like the three weakest people in the game. Like I was like that, okay, that makes sense, them
Yeah.
going out there. Whereas I'd say like Gem, I think that there were weaker players in the game still than Gem, but but in this reality that we are in right now, she still goes out pre-merge.
I think the thing is, it's like, because we know that at the very least, Earn the Merge is at 13 or 12.
Hmm.
And it's like, okay, there's early on, because pre-merge even has its own, like, I know we talk about pre-merge and merge as two different entities. But if we look at, but we always talk about late merge, early merge, stuff like that. We talk about earn the merge and that portion. But like there is like an like there's an early pre-merge and then there's a late pre-merge. And we see this all the time where sometimes around the 14, 13 spot, you see bigger people kind of go home
Hmm.
because they're going to be more of a threat during the merge. And, you know, I'd say when you're at, okay, we're getting rid of someone at 14 and 13. I mean, you've been in that position before where it's like, hey, we have maybe one or two challenges. Maybe we get rid of this person. Um, and yeah, it just makes sense. Like, why have them around if they're just gonna cause you potentially your game going into this?
Exactly. And I do think she would have caused a lot of chaos at the merge and been a strong player moving forward. So as I said, good move on them for doing it. Just sucks to see it happen.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Is there anything else from this episode you want to talk about? So I'm trying to think back.
Yeah. Um I don't think so. I think we covered all of the main beats.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, salsa dancing.
Oh yeah.
That was a fun little moment. Um, yeah, so when I went to this, it was like Johnny Fairplay was there. He was with Michael B from Micronesia. For a second, I thought it was Jonathan Penner, but didn't
Mhm.
have a deep enough voice for him. But yeah, there was a few other people. I'll talk about that for a little bit. There was also Sugar. Sugar and I talked a bit. Abby Maria, that was my first time meeting her, and like
Mhm.
she and I got to talk a lot. Her boyfriend too. Her boyfriend and I, we bonded over like being mad when we play video games and things don't go our way. Um, yeah. Who else was there? Johnny Fairplay. Uh, I got he started doing trivia, but he was kind of drunk at that time. And he was like, "All right, I don't know the answers to a lot of these, so if you say it with confidence, I probably will just give you it." And so I won a few autographs from him. And thing is, I was on top of my trivia, and he stopped talking to me, or like stopped acknowledging me. I was like, "Eh," and I'm like, "Wow, I must be to him what he is to Jeff at this point." I want to tell that this. He was talking about how he usually makes an old fashioned and stuff, and then he was taking a while with it, and then he was like trying to collect his thoughts. And I was like, Today, fair play," calling him out. It's like you see, if that was recorded too, like here
Yeah.
I am, this guy, he plays a couple orgs, and he's like, all right, you can do what the fuck he wants to some of these reality competition stars. Uh,
That's
let alone
funny.
the one that is hosting the fucking thing.
Yeah.
Both of them were hosting. Yeah.
Uh
Um, it was also a bit smaller than the ones I've been to in the past. Maybe because it wasn't a Bryson Wen and
mhm.
it wasn't like a premiere, it wasn't like the merge or finale. But I also liked it because I get to like talk to people a bit more. Like Jack and I talked a decent amount. Abby Maria and I, Sugar and I talked a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
You also
but
gotta,
yeah,
talk to one of my cast members, the Cookie King.
oh yeah, Matt Noel. So or is it Noel or Noel?
I think it's Noel.
Noel. Sorry. Anyway, I've only seen him written. But yeah, the Cookie Monster, we also teased Joe, because since he lost his winner pick, when that happened, it was bro was like, ooh. And then like, so I included him in a clip. Here's the clip right here.
Yeah.
Hey Joe, I know you made fun of me for choosing Jay Maya as my winner pick, but your person just went home at 5, so any words, Cookie Monster?
Oh, I hate you, Joe.
And we're back.
Um, and we're back. Yeah. Um, Yeah, so it was cool meeting up with him, because he and I never met in person. Like he was a mod on Heroes versus Villains, but he wasn't like one of the my direct mods. He and I talked a little bit afterwards, and he and I messaged. So it was like cool meeting him in person. Really cool. You'll see him on the channel. Um,
Yeah.
maybe sooner than you think.
Yeah.
Obviously, not just now, but yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a fun night. Yeah. Oh, I will say he got for during the trivia, he got an autograph photo of Tanya.
I know, yeah, he showed us in our reunion chat.
What was her reaction?
I mean, she actually left the reunion chat. By the way, she dipped. Same with Janet. They both just like dipped out of the chat.
Dang.
Yeah,
Um, but I mean, like Tanya was different because she was with y'all for so
yeah.
long.
Yeah, she made it pretty far. She didn't dip right away though. She did dip like a couple weeks afterwards. So she was around a little bit, but she would left obviously by yesterday.
Yeah. But yeah. Um yeah, so that was my experience. Yeah. All right, do we go over confessional accounts now?
Yeah, let's go over confessionals. So Jem, who went out, had 20 confessionals by the end. So decent. The highest confessional count right now is held by Kenzie with 32 confessionals.
Hmm.
Second is Tiffany with 31 confessionals. Third is Q with 25 confessionals.
So two for three all over again.
Yeah, the gap is close now though, with Charlie at 24 confessionals.
It's
So
still a pretty big gap though.
yeah, only one away from Q.
Oh wait, you said 26. Okay, yeah, my
Yeah,
bad.
yeah.
But it kind of like widens after him though, right?
Yeah, there's a pretty big gap again. Ben is then the next one with 18 confessionals.
Yeah,
Um,
that is eight less.
yeah. Now, what a story this is, because the next person with the highest confessionals is Hunter with 16. He had
And we got
10.
a lot last
Yeah,
episode.
yeah. We got 10 confessionals from Hunter this episode. Um,
Yeah.
so he skyrocketed. Um, and then next up, we got a tie between Tevin and Venus with 14 confessionals. And then we got another tie here with 12 confessionals between Soda and Mariah, and then 11 confessionals with Maria, and then tied for the least amount of confessionals at 10 is Tim and Liz.
That makes sense.
Uh,
But yeah, you would think with more confessional time, we would see more of people, but we haven't. Um, it was weird. It definitely helped out when Sega lost, where it's like, okay, more screen time for Sega, the Kumbaya tribe. And
mhm.
even at Travel, they're like, yeah, we've been the chill tribe for so long that it's like, oh man, it's a whole new feeling going into Tribal because now it's like, we do how well is the vibe gonna be once we lose some people, you know?
Um, yeah, and Mar- Mariah, is on the outs, so there's definitely going to be a lot of that kind of, is she going to be also wanting to flip on her tribe? Um, it definitely it can definitely suck when you blindside someone right before the merge, because then they are
Yes,
the most volatile to flip against you.
the flip. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Um, yeah, and it's kind of like I would say hard to kind of maneuver around that too, because it's like, well, they're gonna say one thing and they say the other. It's like, how do you not, how do you justify as like, okay, it's just one person coming along as opposed to like four people coming along. Yeah, so it's a little bit trickier for the Sika 4 that isn't Mariah because it's like can be definitely a free agent. I'd say she should probably weigh her options, see where the numbers are going, and then be like, okay, just mosey on over to wherever the majority is. So, depending on how the next two episodes go for her, she could be sitting pretty.
Yeah. Also, I just want to let it be known, I was our two winner picks that were on the outs of this episode.
Yeah,
It's what a, it could have been either one of us. I'm just saying.
it could have been, but it wasn't. it's one of those things where we look at our whenever we do our readings, and we were good for a while, but sometimes, you read wrong, or like, oh, there's so much that happens within the game that you don't know, and then you just kind of end up with someone that doesn't perform as well as you thought. Like, me, I had a little buyer's remorse with Tori when watched the first couple episodes. I'm like, ooh, okay, not sure about her chances,
Mhm.
um, things like that, uh, or like the reverse of that, where I was given Gabler at the end, and that turned out to be a blessing because that dark horse that was like, oh, okay, Gabler's there, ended up being my saving grace in winning. And I was like, yes, I get to win, and it's thanks to Joe. Uh, but yeah, um, there's only so much data we can go through. And sometimes, well, I mean, for her, she didn't get eliminated because she was a bad player.
Yeah.
It was just more so like they knew she was a threat, and this was around the time there's like, all right, we should probably take out a threat.
Yeah, I do think that there's a little bit on her for the whole idol shenanigans. I think
Yeah,
that definitely could have been played a lot better.
it could have been, but I think socially and also like because she does have an advantage, she was a threat. Now, granted, really no one knew for sure that she had it.
Mhm.
But regardless, she went home with the idol in her pocket. She did have one.
Yeah.
So it's like she was a legit threat in the game. She was smart. She was learning that she could lie and get away with it and not give any tells. You know, she wasn't just run of the mill. Like there was some merit to her game, um, even if she made mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So, add her to the list of pre-merge players, Jeff, who need to come back. I think Jem would be a great person to put on second chances.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
All right. And then MVP and LVP. Um, LVP, I might give it to. It's tough to say because I don't even think that Jim is in the wrong for doing that, or like in the wrong for even going home with the idol. It's like she
Hmm.
legit had no reason to expect it was going to be her.
Yeah.
Um, I
Yeah.
might say Hunter just purely out of the fact where he messed up a challenge where it doesn't make sense. Once he explains it, it kind of makes sense, but at the same time, it's like you're a huge fan. You
Hmm.
should know this.
Yeah. I'm gonna still give it to Jem. I hate to do it, but I have to give her the LVP. I just feel like she had the opportunities to save herself. Even though, the rest of her tribe was able to, do a pretty good job of
Yeah.
containing it. Like, I don't think anyone really played like so terribly bad that is still in the game. I think she had the ability to at least make it to the next stage, but because she didn't end up doing it, just gonna have to take the L in this LVP.
All right. That's fair. MVP, go to a few people, but I'm gonna give it to Ben. And here's why. He was going into this without a vote when there's only 5 votes. Well, there's a possible sixth vote, but uh, it wasn't going to be played there. There was no reason to play it there. So, like, he was able, when he was the target and the target, was able to influence people. Was like, hey, let's actually get Jim, and was able to be safe without having to use his vote because he didn't have one, and was able to influence the rest of the people and be able to convince the people in the middle to go that way. So I'm gonna give it to him.
Something we didn't mention was, when Jem was using the machete and talking to him. He grabbed a hammer and kind of postured his own. He didn't let her kind of use some threatening,
Intimidated.
yeah, and intimidate him. So good on him there. I am going to give the MVP to Charlie, to be honest, because him and Maria were in the middle, and I think it was best for Charlie to take out Jem here instead of Maria,
Yeah,
and he was able to get what he wanted out of it.
that's fair. Yeah.
Mhm.
I think both are good.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna argue with any of our picks.
yeah,
But yeah. All right. I think that kind of wraps it up. Yeah. So, next time on Survivor, we have to earn the merge. I know they said merge, but we all know that's presumptuous. New Era does not do merge right away. You have to earn that shit. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see how all these different dynamics play out and who turns, who finds a new ally, and who what kind of tea is revealed, you
yeah,
know?
yeah. The game starts picking up a lot now that everyone gets to actually talk to each other.
Oh yeah. I don't want to count this season out yet. I think this episode was a good step in the right direction. So yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes from here.
Definitely, definitely. So yeah, that's gonna do it here for this episode of the Day After podcast, and we will see you in the next one.
Peace.